Stop everything you're doing right now. Because what I'm about to tell you is so absolutely insane, so utterly devastating, that it will shake you to your very core. We are talking about a real-life wrestling bombshell that nobody saw coming. A love story that captivated the entire WWE universe has just exploded into a million pieces, and the fallout is so catastrophic, so heart-wrenching, that fans across the globe are still trying to process what the hell just happened. Ricochet and Samantha Irvin, two of the most beloved figures in professional wrestling, a power couple that seemed absolutely untouchable. They were the definition of relationship goals, the kind of love that made you believe in fairy tales, the kind of connection that made even the most cynical wrestling fans smile and think, you know what? Maybe there is something real and beautiful in this crazy business after all. But today that fairy tale has been incinerated. Today, we witness the absolute destruction of what everyone thought was the perfect romance. Today, Ricochet dropped a bombshell so massive, so earth-shattering, that the entire wrestling world came to a complete standstill. I want a divorce. 4 words. Just 4 simple words that have sent shockwaves through every corner of the wrestling community. 4 words that have left millions of fans absolutely stunned, confused, heartbroken, and desperate for answers. But here's where it gets even more devastating, even more twisted, even more absolutely insane. Ricochet didn't just wake up one morning and decide to end his marriage. Oh no. This wasn't a case of growing apart or falling out of love. This wasn't about irreconcilable differences or the pressures of life on the road. This was about betrayal. This was about secrets. This was about discovering something so shocking, so utterly unforgivable, that it left the high-flying superstar with absolutely no choice but to walk away from the woman he thought he knew. Samantha Irvin had a secret. And when Ricochet discovered what that secret was, everything came crashing down like a steel cage match gone horribly, horribly wrong. Now, before we dive deep into this absolute chaos, before we unpack every devastating detail of this story, I need you to understand something. What you're about to hear isn't just gossip. This isn't just drama for the sake of drama. This is a real-life tragedy unfolding before our very eyes. These are real people with real emotions going through what might be the darkest moment of their entire lives. So buckle up, take a deep breath, because this story is about to take you on a roller coaster ride of emotions that you will never forget. Let's rewind for a moment. Let's go back to when everything seemed perfect. Let's remember how this love story began and why everyone fell in love with Ricochet and Samantha Irvin as a couple. Ricochet, the human highlight reel, the man who defies gravity every single time he steps between those ropes. A performer so talented, so incredible, so absolutely mesmerizing that he could make even the toughest critics stand up and applaud. He's given us moments that will live forever in wrestling history. That shooting star press. Those springboard moves that make you question the laws of physics. That fearless attitude that turned him into one of the most exciting wrestlers on the entire planet. But for all his success in the ring, Ricochet always seemed like he was searching for something more. Something deeper. Something real beyond the bright lights and the roaring crowds. He wanted what every person wants, a genuine connection. A partner who understood the sacrifices, the pain, the dedication it takes to be a professional wrestler. Someone who got it. Someone who was part of this wild, crazy, beautiful world of sports entertainment. And then came Samantha Irvin, the voice of WWE. The ring announcer whose energy could electrify an entire arena with just a few words. The woman whose smile could light up the darkest room. The talent whose passion for this business was evident every single time she picked up that microphone. Samantha wasn't just good at her job, she was phenomenal. She brought a level of enthusiasm and professionalism that elevated every single match she announced. When Ricochet and Samantha started dating, the wrestling community collectively lost its mind in the best possible way. Here were two incredibly talented individuals, both at the top of their respective games, finding love in the most unexpected place. Their social media posts were adorable. Their public appearances together were magical. The way they looked at each other, you could just feel the genuine love radiating between them. Fans couldn't get enough. Every photo, every video, every sweet moment they shared became instant viral gold. People created fan pages dedicated to their relationship. Couples in the wrestling community looked at them as inspiration. This was more than just a celebrity romance, this was proof that you could find your soulmate even in the chaotic, unpredictable world of professional wrestling. And when they got married? Oh man, when they finally tied the knot, it felt like the entire WWE universe was celebrating right alongside them. It was beautiful. It was romantic. It was everything fans could have hoped for and more. Finally, Ricochet had found his happiness. Finally, both of them had found their perfect match. Everyone believed this was it. This was the real deal. This was forever. But forever just came to a brutal, devastating end. So what happened? What could possibly cause such a perfect relationship to implode so spectacularly? What secret could Samantha Irvin have been hiding that would destroy everything they built together? The truth, when it finally emerged, hit like a sledgehammer to the chest. According to multiple sources close to the situation, sources who have proven reliable time and time again, Ricochet discovered that Samantha had been hiding significant aspects of her past from him. We're not talking about small white lies or minor omissions. We're talking about major life events, past relationships, and personal history that completely shattered the foundation of trust their marriage was built upon. Here's the thing about relationships, especially marriages. They're built on trust, on honesty, on the fundamental belief that your partner has been open and truthful with you about who they are and where they come from. When that foundation cracks, when you discover that the person you've pledged your life to has been hiding crucial parts of themselves, it doesn't just hurt, it absolutely destroys you from the inside out. Imagine being Ricochet in this moment. Imagine thinking you knew everything about the woman you married. Imagine believing you had shared everything with each other, all the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful. And then one day, something comes to light. Something big. Something that makes you question everything you thought you knew about your partner. The betrayal wouldn't just be about whatever secret was hidden. It would be about every day that secret wasn't shared. Every conversation where the truth could have been told but wasn't. Every intimate moment where complete honesty could have prevailed but didn't. That's the kind of pain that cuts deeper than any physical wound. That's the kind of hurt that makes you question your own judgment, your own intuition, your own ability to trust. Who here has ever felt betrayed by someone you loved? Drop a comment below and let me know, because this story hits different when you've experienced that kind of pain yourself. Now, the exact details of Samantha's secret have not been fully disclosed publicly, and honestly, out of respect for both parties, some things should probably remain private. But what we do know is that whatever Ricochet discovered was significant enough to make him feel like he had been living a lie. Significant enough to make him question the entire foundation of their relationship. Significant enough to make him realize that moving forward together was simply impossible. Sources close to Ricochet say he was absolutely devastated when he found out. This wasn't anger at first. It was pure heartbreak. The man was crushed. Imagine dedicating yourself completely to someone, opening up your heart in ways you never had before, making yourself vulnerable, and then discovering that vulnerability had been built on a foundation of omitted truths. Friends say Ricochet went through every emotion imaginable. Shock, disbelief, confusion, sadness, and finally, yes, anger. Not the explosive, destructive kind of anger, but the cold, resolute kind. The kind that comes when you realize you have to make an impossible decision for your own well-being and peace of mind. The decision to file for divorce. When the news first broke, social media absolutely erupted. Within minutes, Ricochet's name was trending worldwide. Samantha Irvin's name was trending worldwide. The wrestling community was in complete chaos. Nobody could believe what they were reading. Fans were frantically searching for information, desperate to understand what could have possibly gone wrong. The reactions were all over the map. Some fans immediately jumped to Ricochet's defense, saying he had every right to end the marriage if trust had been broken. Others questioned whether the secret was really that serious, wondering if the relationship could have been saved with counseling and communication. Some expressed heartbreak for both parties, recognizing that this situation probably had no real villains, just two people dealing with an incredibly difficult circumstance. And then there were those who immediately started attacking Samantha online. The internet can be a brutal place, and unfortunately, in situations like this, people often rush to judgment without knowing all the facts. Samantha's social media was flooded with hateful comments, accusations, and harassment. It got so bad that she had to temporarily disable comments on her posts. But here's what we need to understand. We don't know the full story. We may never know the full story, and that's actually okay. These are real people going through a real crisis, not characters in a wrestling storyline. They deserve space, privacy, and respect as they navigate this incredibly painful chapter of their lives. What we can talk about is the broader impact of this situation. Because this divorce isn't just affecting Ricochet and Samantha. It's sending ripples throughout the entire wrestling industry. Think about it. Samantha Irvin was one of the most prominent voices in WWE. Every week, millions of fans heard her announce matches, introduce superstars, and bring energy to some of the biggest moments in wrestling. But now, in the aftermath of this divorce, questions are swirling about her future with the company. Can she continue in her role with WWE knowing that her ex-husband is also part of the wrestling world? Will the emotional toll of this situation affect her performance? Will WWE even want to keep her in such a visible position given the media attention this divorce is generating? And what about Ricochet? The man just had his personal life completely shattered. How is he supposed to go out there night after night, perform at the highest level, and entertain millions of fans when he's dealing with this kind of emotional devastation? Wrestling requires incredible focus, dedication, and mental strength. Can anyone really blame him if his performance suffers in the coming weeks and months? These are the questions that have no easy answers. These are the complicated realities of being a public figure in the wrestling industry. But let's dig even deeper into the psychology of what Ricochet must be experiencing right now. Because beyond the public spectacle, beyond the headlines and the trending topics, there's a human being trying to process one of the most traumatic experiences a person can go through. Betrayal in a marriage doesn't just hurt in the moment. It leaves scars that can last for years. It changes how you view relationships. It makes you second-guess your own instincts. It can make you cynical, guarded, and afraid to trust again. For someone like Ricochet, who put his heart completely on the line and believed wholeheartedly in this relationship, the psychological impact could be absolutely profound. Trust issues. That's what betrayal creates. And once trust is broken, especially in such a fundamental way, it's almost impossible to rebuild. It's like trying to put together a shattered mirror. You might be able to piece it back together, but it will never be the same. You'll always see the cracks. You'll always remember what broke it in the first place. Friends close to Ricochet say he's been leaning on his support system during this difficult time. Fellow wrestlers, family members, and close friends have rallied around him, offering emotional support and reminding him that he's not alone. In an industry that can often feel cutthroat and competitive, it's heartwarming to see the wrestling community come together for one of their own during his darkest hour. But support can only do so much. At the end of the day, Ricochet has to process these emotions himself. He has to work through the pain, the anger, the sense of betrayal, and somehow find a way to move forward with his life. That's not something that happens overnight. That's a journey that could take months or even years. Be honest with me in the comments. Could you forgive a partner who hid something major from you, or is trust once broken impossible to repair? Now let's talk about Samantha's perspective for a moment, because as painful as this is for Ricochet, we have to acknowledge that Samantha is also going through hell right now. Regardless of what secret she was keeping or why she kept it, the public nature of this divorce has to be absolutely crushing for her. Imagine having your private life, your most personal struggles, your deepest secrets potentially exposed to millions of people. Imagine facing judgment from fans who don't know you, who don't understand your circumstances, who feel entitled to comment on every aspect of your life. Imagine losing not just your marriage, but potentially your reputation, your career, and your sense of privacy all at once. That's the reality Samantha Irvin is facing right now. And while we may not know exactly what she did or didn't do, we can recognize that she's also a human being dealing with an incredibly difficult situation. The online harassment she's received has been vicious. People calling her names, making assumptions about her character, and attacking her in ways that go far beyond constructive criticism. Here's the thing, we live in an age where social media gives everyone a platform to express their opinions instantly and often without filter. But with that power comes responsibility. The responsibility to remember that behind every trending topic, behind every headline, there are real people with real feelings experiencing real pain. Samantha hasn't made many public statements since the divorce news broke, and honestly, that's probably the wisest course of action. Sometimes silence is the best response when the court of public opinion has already made up its mind. Sometimes the best thing you can do is protect your own mental health and well-being by stepping back from the noise. But her silence has also led to rampant speculation. People filling in the blanks with their own theories and assumptions. Some claiming they know exactly what the secret was. Others inventing elaborate stories that have absolutely no basis in fact. The rumor mill in the wrestling community can be absolutely ruthless, and Samantha has found herself at the center of a storm she probably never could have anticipated. One thing that's particularly heartbreaking about this situation is how it highlights the pressure that public figures face in their personal relationships. Ricochet and Samantha couldn't just go through a divorce quietly and privately like most people. Every detail, every development, every emotion is dissected and analyzed by millions of fans and dozens of wrestling media outlets. There's no space for them to just be hurt, to just be confused, to just process their emotions away from prying eyes. Everything is public. Everything is content. Everything becomes part of the narrative that fans consume and discuss endlessly. And that brings us to a larger conversation about parasocial relationships and fan culture in wrestling. Because here's the reality, fans fell in love with Ricochet and Samantha as a couple. Fans invested emotionally in their relationship. Fans celebrated their love story. So when that story ended, fans felt personally affected, personally invested in the outcome, personally entitled to answers and explanations. But are they really entitled to those things? Do Ricochet and Samantha owe the WWE Universe a detailed explanation of what went wrong in their marriage? Do they have to share every painful, private detail just because they chose to share their relationship publicly when things were good? These are complicated questions with no clear answers. On one hand, when you're a public figure and you share your relationship on social media, you're inviting fans into your life. You're creating a connection based on that sharing. So when things fall apart, fans naturally want to know what happened. On the other hand, everyone deserves boundaries. Everyone deserves privacy, especially during their most vulnerable moments. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle. Ricochet and Samantha don't owe anyone a detailed explanation, but the public nature of their relationship means the divorce was always going to be public too. That's just the reality of being in the spotlight. What do you think? Do public figures owe their fans an explanation when their relationships end, or should we just respect their privacy and let them deal with it privately? Now let's shift gears and talk about what this means for the future. Because as devastating as this divorce is, life goes on. Careers continue.